Hello, everyone. My name is Andrew Cherico, and I'm here with Clay Pasco. And welcome back to a long-awaited new edition of Up All Night. This is episode 12, right, Clay?
Episode 12, correct.
Hopefully, we're still your favorite but inconsistent UCF late night show. And we hope everybody made all right with both hurricanes, most recently Hurricane Milton. But otherwise, Clay, how you doing? We have a lot to talk about this week.
Doing good. Unfortunately, Milton is not helping us beat the once in a quarter allegations, but we're back now, and that's what matters. I hope everyone's safe. But I'm doing fine. UCF football isn't, but we'll get to that in a second.
There's a lot of tragedy with UCF football in the real world. It's bad. It's this team has taken a turn for the worse. There's a lot of uncertainty right now, and one of those uncertainties are the quarterback position. Clay, what do we got for our first topic?
Uh, for our Iowa State game, we play Iowa State this week. And do the Knights roll with Ja'Cory Brown or EJ Colson at QB1 this weekend? That's the question. I feel like this one's rather easy, but it's still a point of discussion given what happened last weekend. So, Andrew, what do you think?
I mean, first of all, I just thought it was really surprising that we saw even EJ Colson start against Cincinnati. He boosted up from possibly the third or fourth spot all the way to starting QB. And it was very interesting. What I've heard is that he had really good practices and he was playing like quarterback one. But my take is that he just didn't live up to the game time hype. He wasn't prepared. He wasn't ready. He made a couple decent reads, I thought, but when it came to certain situations, it looked like he froze a little bit. So maybe he's not ready for game time just yet. I definitely do think the Knights need a role with Ja'Cory Brown if they want a chance at winning. Although I'm super excited about EJ Colson's future. I think he got a little bit robbed on some of his possessions by the Johnny Richardson fumbles, as well as his play calling wasn't that great either. There was just a few. He took two deep shots, and that was about it. He got sacked once, and he just didn't get that much opportunities, I think, to even show what he can do. What do you think, Clay?
Yeah, I think the same thing. You really just handed it off and made some quick checkdowns and yeah, again threw it deep. And also, you can tell with how young he is, he's obviously not used to getting hit, especially not by high level starters. I think we saw that. I believe he fumbled right when he got hit.
Yeah,
Um,
but he somehow got it back. That was crazy
yeah,
to
he
see.
got he got it back. So you have some rookie mistakes. I mean, he's 17 years old, man. What do you expect in that department? But I still think, yeah, we roll with Ja'Cory Brown. I mean, he made some excellent reads, some excellent throws. He can play. He can run, man. That kid is fast. And
Yeah, he's definitely a lot faster than KJ.
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
one of the first sites.
And I think with just the practice he had again in this game, and hopefully this week taking QB1 reps, I think that without a doubt he's got to be starter. This the starter for this game as well.
But yeah, it was really funny. We were just mentioning it before the show. EJ Colson is 17. Ja'Cory Brown is around 20, 21, 21. Is it 21?
Yeah,
Yeah.
21.
I mean, these guys are our age, and they're playing for UCF football, and we're making a show about them. How the world works. I never thought I'd get to the point where I'm older than the players now. Even in NFL, that's happening to me. I'm 21, guys. I'm not that old, but it's weird seeing that happen. But a little bit more controversy with the team. We had a few players redshirt and opt out of the team. One of the arguably bigger names that opted out, Colton Boomer, a big loss for the Knights. But are we better off with Grant Reddick, Clay?
Yeah, I mean he's made all of his attempts, hasn't he? Something that
That is
Colton
true.
Boomer struggled with doing, unfortunately, this last year, the last half of last year and the beginning of this year. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, he's our only option, I think, right, at this point.
Yeah, I mean, I find it really. I feel like UCF has like a very like weird superstition about once the kicker gets put into the game, they do excellent. And then eventually, as they play a year here, their just talents fall off immediately.
They
So
flame out.
hopefully that doesn't happen to Grant because he seems like a great guy. He's our thick kicker, as we call him. It was really weird hearing the Knights fans pick up on Boomer leaving immediately. I didn't hear one boom from the press box after Grant Reddick kicked the first field goal at home, which was just really weird to me. It's gonna take a while getting used to that. But like you said, Clay, he hasn't missed yet. Boomer obviously was having really bad struggles. Some injury involved for sure. He was injured last year and played injured until the end of the season and got somehow, I believe, injured again on a kickoff this year. So it's just we're still trying to figure out what the issue was with Boomer, how he started off so well. I'll never forget that Boise State game. That Boise State game was absolutely special, and it always have a special place in my heart.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's. I mean, the story of Colton Boomer was pretty cool. Going from walk on to fan favorite, but you live and you move on. I guess he's
What do
moved
you
on
think? I
too.
can apply for a backup kicker for the Knights.
Yeah, honestly, I think anyone has a shot. Go out there and start kicking some balls. But
Hey guys, me as backup kicker and Clay as quarterback. Who says no? Who says no?
and
No stress.
with this new topic making the third straight question in a row that if you told me 6 months ago we'd be asking these questions, I would have probably started crying on the spot. But why did the Knights take so long to bench KJ Jefferson? What I want
This
to
is a
know,
good.
Andrew, at what point do you think he should have been benched, if he should have been benched at all, and if it was the Cincinnati game, if it was the Florida game, if it was the Colorado game, hell, even if it was the first half of TCU, what do you think?
I would say this: KJ was brought in, big money NIL guy, brought in to be he was the acquisition of the offseason. There's no doubt about that. He was voted as a team captain from the players, and then he goes out there and sucks. No offense to KJ, I can never do what he does on a daily basis. But when you're getting paid that kind of money and that kind of stardom, to be that guy for the team and not doing it, that was rough to see. There was rumors about him not living up to the hype in training camp. We discussed that in one of our earlier episodes of Up All Night. Is there a quarterback controversy? And it seems that it turned out to be true. There were struggles, and the Knights head coaches and the Knights coaches in general were hoping that he was just struggling during practice because he's a game time player. He's not going to perform well in practice, but come game time, he's going to perform well. Well, guess what? He struggled in practice and he struggled in game time. I do think he should have been benched. If it was me, if I was head coach, I would have benched him first half of TCU. I would say the reason why the Knights didn't bench KJ during New Hampshire and Sam Houston and pretty much rode him out to the fourth quarter in both of those games was to give him as much experience and playing time as possible to get him comfortable. They knew he wasn't comfortable in either of those games, and they wanted to make sure he could. And then the second half that he had against TCU just delayed his benching, which made it even worse for the team.
Yeah, I kind of agree. So he was not great against New Hampshire, was fine against Sam Houston State, was not anything to write home about in the first half of TCU, was really good in the second half of TCU, wasn't anything to write home about in Colorado. I don't think he was terrible against Colorado. I just think that, you know, I don't really contribute that loss to all of KJ, if that makes sense. I don't think a
Yeah,
majority of that loss was on him. I think after the first half of the Florida game was probably when I would have taken him out and put him in with Jakuri. I genuinely think if not only if Jakuri started from day one, but even if Jakuri started in the Florida game or even halfway through the Florida game, maybe the Florida game turns out differently. I don't know. I can never, can't sit here and tell you accurately. Yeah, Jakuri would have won that game, but I think we probably put up a few more points, probably do some better things on offense. But it is what it is. We lost the game.
I'll say that's a fair assessment. I do think that knowing what we know now about the struggles in practice, I said I would have pulled the plug a little bit earlier. What I saw at the New Hampshire game wasn't a fan of, and I was just thinking, if he plays like this against New Hampshire, what is he going to do against the Colorado? What is he going to do against the Florida? Look what he ended up doing against both of those teams. Nothing. He didn't put us in a position to win. Not saying he was terrible in either or, but he didn't put us in a position to win. And like I said, previously, all he needs to do is be a game manager for UCF to win games, and he wasn't able to get that done. But we lost the Cincinnati game, Clay. There's a lot to talk about. What are some of the key thoughts you had from the loss?
So I'm gonna be 100% honest right here. Okay, I didn't go to the game. I didn't go, not because I didn't want to go, but I had a meeting at six
Okay.
o'clock for I don't know why they scheduled it at 6, but they did. So I had to be on the Zoom meeting at 6. So I had to stay home. I was able to watch all the way up to the third quarter, and the Zoom meeting was like during the fourth quarter. So I didn't get to watch the fourth quarter until like the last 4 or 5 minutes. But from what I saw in the first half, one, Johnny Richardson, man, I don't know if he'll ever touch the ball again. I don't know if he will. Back to back fumbles. EJ was like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, EJ was bad, because he wasn't. I mean, He's 17 years old. Put me in there at 17 years old, and I'd probably get sacked 8 times and make the wrong reads and throw 6 interceptions. I think for a true freshman, just throwing him in here at the game at game time decision, he did perfectly. He did exactly what we needed him to do. All right. He for the most part protected the ball. He handed the ball off. He made some checkdowns. I have no complaints with EJ Colson, man. I'm excited to see what he did. Jacurri now. I was like, okay, we got a quarterback. You know, we have a resemblance of a quarterback in Jacurri. I think Jacurri made some great reads. Again, as you'd expect from someone who's been sitting the bench for the last 6 weeks, made some rookie mistakes. You know, nothing insane. Nothing that makes me go, yeah, take him out and put EJ back in. Um, Defense. I don't know what to make of the defense this game. It was like we could not get off the field on third down, but also at the same time we would still make stops here and there, even
Depending
though
on
it
their
didn't really.
defense.
Yeah, like we let Cincy drive all the way down the field, and then finally we'd play defense and just make force a field goal or something like that.
Yeah,
Um, I know Ethan Barr got hurt. Came out of the game, correct?
yeah. At halftime, he came out.
Yeah, and this was just a strange game from start to finish. It didn't feel real. Like it felt less real than the Florida game and the Colorado game. I think it's because I was watching it on TV. That's probably why. But my main takeaway is the season's cooked. Like it is. It's the season's cooked, bro. I
It's
don't know.
never been more Jover.
Like I, it was even worse is that it was a close loss, and I'm still over here like yeah, like it's over. Like at the same time, it was competitive, but it didn't really feel all that competitive at the same time. I don't know. It was this was a strange game from start to finish. What do you think, Andrew?
With the TCU game, we've never been more Barack. After the Cincinnati game, it's never been more Jover. All right, that's how it felt. It felt like a fever dream game. UCF scored 13 points. First time in a while UCF hasn't scored a touchdown in the first half in back-to-back games, which Gus said this is a top 10, top 15 offense. This offense has not played like that whatsoever. This offense is severely struggling. I was very surprised with the EJ start. Credit to them saying he had a practice, but my first move would have been Jacurri. He's a more experienced guy. He's gotten snaps under him. He even played some snaps during the New Hampshire Sam Houston game, I believe. So he should have had though. I feel like he should have had the start. Have EJ as the backup just in case Jacurri went to crap. Um, what I feel like with Jacurri Brown is the best we're going to get is kind of what we had out of Timmy McLean last year. He's going to keep you in games, but you're going to see that he's not starting Big 12 quarterback. In my opinion, he's going to keep us in games though. Timmy McLean kept us in football games, and not saying that JRP didn't either. If we can get a hybrid of what JRP/Timmy McLean did out of Jacurri with Jacurri's speed and hopefully being able to make deep throws, then this team should have won at least 6 games. We should win 3 more games. If you told me at the beginning of the season that we'd be fighting to get to 6 wins at the halfway mark, I would be like, excuse me? I thought our only loss at this time would be Colorado if you look at the prediction video. I don't think anybody predicted us losing to Cincinnati, rival game. Those chilly people ill. It was a rough game. Like you said, Johnny Richardson fumble twice. It took him out. It took UCF out the game early in terms of offensive possessions. Both of those were EJ Colson possessions, and we just really didn't get a fair shot at seeing him. I think Gus was trying to give him equal amount of possessions. So when I saw that, it's just like, okay, you took away 2 EJ possessions immediately. And on the fumble, one of them they went all the way down the field, and then the second one was all the way in UCF territory. So big credit to the defense for holding them to a field goal there. The defense I did not play better. There's no doubt they only gave up 19 points compared to the surplus amount of points they gave up in Gainesville and the surplus amount of points they gave up against Colorado. But then again, the third down issues. They can't get off the field on third down. They give up 4th downs. The passing defense still has so many holes in it. But then again, there was progression, and you always want to look for progression. Gus sees it. Everybody sees it. The defense was one of the, I want to say highlights because they weren't great still. It was, even though they gave up 19 points, Cincinnati didn't play fantastic either. Just a rough game all around. I feel bad for RJ, man. He's dealing with a loaded box every game. He's not getting any opportunities to get open into the open field. You're starting to utilize him a little bit more in the passing game, but still they're keying on him. He's the star player on the team. same as Kobe. Kobe's the only wide receiver getting targeted on this UCF roster. Everybody else has 3 targets the whole game, and Kobe has like 9, 10. So it's like, wow, where's the distribution? Where's Randy Pittman? Where's Trent? Where's Chauncey? All these players that we were saying that, oh, this is going to be a deep wide receiver room. It's only looked like Kobe after Javon Baker left.
Yeah,
Xavier Townsend leaving hurt the team as well. But what do you think about the current status of the offense, Clay?
it. I don't know. In terms of scheme, it still looks like the same as it was with KJ. All right, cool. We're gonna do a little read here, and then even if Kobe is in double coverage, we're gonna chuck it up to him and see what happens. Like I felt like it was the same way when Ja'Cory Brown was on the field as well. And what I don't get either is before the game started, I'm seeing the reports of EJ Cole starting, and at first I don't believe this. Like EJ Cole, like we're gonna skip over Ja'Cory and Dylan straight. Like you guys are lying, bro.
Yeah.
Like straight up. And then I see the post from Steven Leonard, and I'm like, oh my god, we are starting EJ Colson, which I thought was a very questionable thing to do. Um, but yeah, the fact that we didn't roll out immediately with Ja'Cory, not saying that we would have scored more, on the first possession or second possession, especially with the whole Johnny Richardson thing. But I thought it was strange we didn't roll out with Ja'Cory from the beginning. The scheme isn't getting any better. I feel like every single week, I feel like in the press, Gus is like, oh yeah, we're gonna open up the playbook. We're gonna do something different, and they don't. Like it's just the same thing over and over again. RJ dealing with a loaded box, and frankly, I don't think our offensive line is all that great. I don't think they're really. Even I saw it against Colorado. I saw it against Florida. I saw it against Cincinnati. We're kind of getting eaten up at the line of scrimmage. Even at the last play of the game, our tackles get burnt. Yeah, and Ja'Cory gets sacked before he can even make a read. It's just the whole. By the way, I want to give a shout out real quick. Chasen Johnson, man, hell of a game. He played well.
Big dog. Loved it.
See, this is what happens. Yeah, this is what happens when you play younger guys. You see what we have in them, and Chasen Johnson is good. Can't wait to see what team he plays on next year. But
I'm not a person for revolts, but free them youngins, man. Free them youngins. I believe in my opinion, philosophy should be the best player plays, no matter the experience, no matter the veteran, how much presence they've had on the field. If they're a better player, they should get the opportunity to play. But the thing I feel bad about, Clay, is I just feel like there's been so much more to complain about with this UCF team than to like. There really has. We knew we were going to like going into the season. The run game. Oh, using the different wide receiver targets. It's been none of that. Our run game hasn't even been great because we can't get the ball downfield in the passing game. Teams know we're going to run on all 3 downs. What are they going to do? Prepare for the run. I was saying it felt like the same 3 plays. I made a tweet. It felt like the same 3 plays. Inside run to RJ. Then a read option. Either give it to RJ down the middle or your quarterback roll out. Or a pass read option where he gives it to RJ that up the middle or does a little slant route. It felt like this. It felt like I found the cheese formation in Madden and kept spamming the same play over and over and over again because the defense couldn't stop it. But in reality, the defense knew exactly what was coming every time, and that's why it's been so hard to score. The play calling. Trace asked Gus in the press conference, do you feel like the play calling is too much for you? Gus didn't say yes or no. He said, we were going to do anything it takes to win. It's a very open-ended answer. We've been receiving a lot of open-ended answers recently, and there's just a lot of questions to answer about this team. But EJ, one more thing on EJ. I do think they also wanted to give him the start. EJ's a highly coveted recruit. He was highly coveted coming out of high school. And I think they just want to have the opportunity to keep EJ. I think they realized the mistakes they had getting rid of Tommy. I think they realized those issues where they don't set themselves up for a quarterback for the future. EJ can finally be that quarterback for the future. He's 17 years old, and he played a Big 12 defense. That's as much as you want out of a 17-year-old quarterback. Getting that experience early in your career, it can set up UCF for a while. So I just think they wanted to get him out there. They said, all right, you're going to be the starter for the future. Just stick with us during this turmoil. But yeah, that's the game.
But this kind of goes back to what you were saying, Andrew, is that I love EJ. Don't get me wrong. I've talked to EJ a lot. I sat with him in the spring game. He was really cool. He showed flashes of being really good. Like the kid is talented, without a doubt. He's 17 years old, and yeah, the fact that you said he played Big 12 defense, but in the same breath, start the best player. And no offense to EJ, he's just not experienced. That's it. That's my only. Ja'Curry has that experience. He played multiple games at Miami. He showed today that he can play at a high level. Will he win us games? I don't know. We'll have to see. As you said, with he's a Timmy McClain, and again, I was never a Timmy McClain hater. I think he played well. He was never the reason we lost to Baylor. He beat Villanova. What would we have beat Kansas State if we had John S. Plumlee? Maybe, but again, that loss is entirely on him on the defense. Um, and two, to look at our defense. All right, Cincinnati scored 30 on Pitt. They put up like 50 on Texas Tech. They only put up 19 on us. I feel like that's something to write home about a little bit.
Yeah.
But
People are saying those are inflated stats. Those are pretty good defenses. Those are power defenses, and I was happy to
yeah,
see that UCF was able to hold them tonight. It wasn't like Cincinnati played a New Hampshire or a Sam Houston. Those were power defenses, and UCF did their job. It's just unfortunate the offense has been so. I don't think we've ever seen an offense this stagnant. Even when JRP went down last year, we hadn't seen an offense this stagnant.
yeah. And I forgot who I was telling to, but I feel like there's been an absence of big plays. Even though last year we weren't all that great, we went 6-7. I feel like every single game was marked by these huge plays. Every single, which wasn't really sustainable because we'd have a huge play and then give up a huge play and then have a huge play and then give up a huge play. But that's what we've been lacking this year, man. I can't think of a single time where RJ Harvey breaks off for a 60-yard run or KJ Jefferson 60-yard bomb to Kobe Hudson. I don't think we've really seen that this year, and I don't know what it is. Is it?
Yeah. The last big
Is
play
it a
we had
personnel problem?
it's the last big play we've had was RJ Harvey, I believe, 75-yard
Yeah,
catch
Colorado.
against Colorado, and that's felt like it. The offense has been a nightmare, and you never thought you'd say the offense is a nightmare under a Gus Malzahn run team. Always the other things, but not the offense. And it seems like this offense has really stood out. This week has already been enough of a nightmare, but that doesn't mean we can't leave out our bi-weekly, semi-weekly, maybe bi-monthly segment of the weekly nightmare. Clay, what do we got?
Well, we have two things. I'm gonna go and start. It's Johnny Richardson. I mean, I love him. I got to talk to him at media day. He's really cool. But man, like, come on, man, fumbling twice. It's
It was
it's
brutal.
it was. I don't want to sit here and like trash on him for it, but it's a technique thing, really. I don't know if it lost us. I mean, maybe two of them did lost us the game. I don't believe that one play or one player can lose you a game, but he didn't really put us in great positions. What do you think?
I really, in my opinion, and I know this is a hot take, I don't think this is the last we've seen of Johnny Richardson. When you look at our roster top to bottom, you look at the return team. Who is going to return kicks? I do not like RJ Harvey on the return. You know how easy it is for a player to get hurt on a return? If RJ Harvey
Yeah,
goes down, the team is not winning another game. And that's fact. Okay?
I do think that was
There's
a
no
strange move to put
I do
RJ at
think
returner.
Johnny is the best option for returns. Shiftiness, quickness. He just needs to get into a drill where he's holding the ball. I want him to get tackled by 15 people at one time. And if he doesn't hold the ball, he has to do it again. Because he is, I think, the best guy capable for returns. He just needs to hold on to that football. Since we lost X, we don't have a clear-cut, defined returner. So I think Johnny Richardson is the guy that stays.
If I'm not wrong, Trent Whittemore was back there a few times, right? To
Did you see
receive.
Trent Whittemore return a ball at all? Or did he just fair catch it every time?
Well, I know he was back
Trent
there. I can't
Whittemore
tell you
receiving
can't tell you he
kicks
was
is
returning.
eliminating any possibility of a return at all. It's already
He's out there
surrendered
getting
at that
cardio, man. Trent Whittemore doing cardio.
He's literally out there for his ability to field the ball, catch it, and wave his hand. That's it. That's all he's doing out there in the kick return team. But you said we mentioned we had one more weekly nightmare. What is
I don't even know. I don't have it pulled up. You can go ahead and introduce it for us.
that? Well, if not that, you know what it is. KJ Jefferson being benched. Like I mentioned before, we don't have to spend too much time on it. He's he was supposed to be the face of this year, face of the franchise, along with RJ, along with Kobe Hudson, and all these other fifth-year guys looking to make their way into the NFL. He's still got his money. He's going to be well off for a while, but it's just unfortunate to see KJ Jefferson go out the way he has. I need to take a deep break because of like, dang, he's really going out. He's
Yeah,
going outside.
and that's crazy because he was a. I'm not gonna say he was anything amazing, but he was a very good SEC starting quarterback. Go look at the stats; they speak for himself. What happened?
Well, that could be another topic for a Hot Wheel take. Is it him or is it the play calling? Is it Gus Malzahn's offense? Did that ruin KJ? There's a lot to speak about, but I would say the overarching narrative is that KJ is not what we made him out to be, and now this season's in shambles. We put all of our
You
eggs in
realize your
one
goat low-key
basket.
washed.
We put all we put all of our eggs in one basket. Gave him a lot of money that we could have put elsewhere on this team to make it a better roster, and it just turned out to be a big zero. And now, couple, I won't get into. I won't money watch. I won't pocket watch. But a
Oh,
big price tag is sitting on the bench. On the bench. Talking
and
about price tag.
speaking of money.
Exactly.
All right, so I've laid out a scenario for you. I've been thinking about this all week.
All
Okay,
right, talk to me.
so Gus Malzahn has a tendency to when going when facing a ranked opponent has a tendency to do three things. All right, I'm gonna lay out these three things for you, Andrew, and I want you to tell me the most likely outcome of this thing that it's gonna happen against Iowa State. All right, so number one, we get killed. We get blown out at Iowa State by more
Very
than
likely.
four scores,
Very likely.
by more than four or five scores. All right, just like Kansas last year when we went on the road against Kansas, a good Kansas team at that, and just looked like we didn't even belong in the same field as Kansas. All right, that's scenario number one. We get blown out. We just do not belong in the same field as Iowa State. Or two, the Oklahoma game last year, where we go on the road against a ranked opponent. We get into a shootout. It's back and forth, back and forth. You think the Knights are going to pull it out, and then we lose in a heartbreaking fashion because we let a wide receiver throw the ball for a 2-point conversion.
Uh,
All right, that is
okay.
scenario number two. Scenario
Give
number
me number two.
three. Now, Andrew, we just dominate them from start to finish. We just absolutely kill them. We literally Oklahoma State cowboy them and just your weird fluky Gus Malzahn win. What do you put if you would put your money on it right now? What do you put your money on?
I would say if you saw me bet that UCF would dominate Iowa State, there's a better probability that I show up to the next Suns or get together at a game on my 2 feet than that happening. I think there's a zero chance that happens. And I'm using my lucky controller. I would say it's actually going to be a close game. Believe it or not, I
Okay.
do think this team realizes that this is it here. They don't win this game, the season's over. There's no chance of completing any goals that they wanted. And the lucky controller tells me it's gonna be a close game, not as close as like you saying like the Oklahoma game where they failed the 2 point conversion, but it's gonna be a 10 point game, I think. I just don't think UCF has the personnel now, or the play calling, or the strategy to beat the number 9 ranked Iowa State team.
Yeah, I agree. I think Iowa State is quite literally better at every single position than we are. Every single position.
Yeah.
You know, it's a damn good team. They're really good. They're like Rocco Beck, man, can sling. If you thought Josh Hoover did bad things to us, Rocco Beck is about to do terrible things to us. You know,
Yeah,
if we don't get
it's
pressure on him, he's
ridiculous.
gonna throw for 500 yards easy.
And you already know they're scheming around our blitzes.
Yeah,
Blitz every team that can blitz, a
and
Russian
then
team that
them
can run the ball.
yeah them corn fed Iowa State D linemen, bro, are gonna get to RJ. They're gonna put pressure on Jakuri. Well, we might be in for a long night, and that's fine. I'm cool with that. I'm gonna be at my parents' house, so I can cry in front of them.
Yeah, but on to the next week, I guess, right, Clay?
On to the next week, win or lose, we booze. But anywho, a bit of a shorter episode today, Andrew. I think we got through everything. I mean, now that things are looking so dire and just absolutely, aimless, it's just a lot easier to do. I feel like. But
Yeah, we also
anything
want to
else
be
you'd like to
faster
add?
than the UCF fastest show around the kingdom
We
because
do.
we're
We
just
do.
better in all aspects. You might
We
not
do
get
get a
us
lot of
all the
pressure.
time, but when you do get us, we're great. But to anybody else watching, be sure to look out for content on UCF Basketball Media Day coming out, and be sure to stay tuned with all the latest raps and content made on UCF football games, post game presses, and such. But that just made me tired. All that speaking. What do you think, Clay?
I did. I'm feeling a little tired. I think we've officially been up all night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone. Go Knights.
Charge on.